afternoon, everyone. I just want to say one of the takeaway messages from spending several days with Nigel has been that we are doing a lot of good things in South Australia already. We are already working very hard towards improving the lives of children and young people in South Australia. But we need to do better. So how can we do that? And that's the challenge that lies ahead of us. Often you come to a conference and you never hear about it again. You go away feeling a little bit energised by the conversations, but we're pretty determined to make sure that something positive comes from this week of really fantastic conversations across the whole sector. Together SA is producing a summary report of today's conference, as well as Tuesday's conference that happened in the North. We'll be summarising the ideas and responding to any questions that Nigel wasn't able to respond to today. And that report will be made available very broadly to all of you as delegates today, also on the Junction Australia website, Together SA website. We're very determined too to make sure that that report gets to where it needs to be while there are really significant decisions being made at this point in time. The interpretation of the Niden report, the where to from here stuff is it's timely that the state government hear from the sector. So we'll be sharing the report with the Human Services Partnership Forum and more broadly from there as well. So I guess today I just wanted to do a call to action to you. A lot of the conversations today have been around what can you do differently right now, as when you leave, when you go back to your work. What is it that you can do differently? If you know of a collective impact initiative near where you're working or where you live, join. And if there isn't one and you think there's something that's happening in your area that needs to change, then start a collective impact initiative. Collaborate. In fact, we have one in the south that has been going for 2 years, and the group are running a community report back session directly after the conference today. On your tables, you should see a copy of their baseline report. I'd really love to see you stay and join us for some more conversations. There's other things that you can do as well. Learn about collective impact. Learn about results-based accountability and start asking lots of questions. There's several Liz Weaver events coming up in the next week or so. Liz Weaver is from the Tamarack Institute in Canada, and she's an international expert in collective impact. We have 3 events that we still have tickets for. We've still got some places left for how to govern for collective impact, a coaching clinic for public servants, and a collaboration for impact masterclass. Plenty of opportunities for you to continue to learn. And I guess that the last thing that I'd like to say is that Leeds is a brilliant example of what can be achieved if there are, if people connect, if there is challenging conversations, if there's disruption, and if there is a way forward through collaboration to really change things from a social and systemic perspective. And I think that's what we need. So be the lone nut, I guess is what we're saying. Be the lone nut or be the first follower and truly make a difference. And I also wanted to say that Leeds took 6 years to get where they are, and we are in our early days, so we need lots of champions. We need lots of lone nuts. So thank you very much for your attendance today, everybody.
I think I'm getting some closing words now. An important thing that I must do straight away is to once again acknowledge our sponsors, the City of Onkaparinga, the Department of Communities and Social Inclusion and the Department of Education and Child Development. We absolutely appreciate your support. You've helped to make today possible. So thanks so much to those. And also to our co-hosts today, Together SA, who've put together the whole facilitation of the program and done a huge amount of work in the planning towards today. their role will continue to be pivotal in the south as they continue to foster that collective social impact. Also, I just want to affirm the work of the regional roundtables that we listed before through supported by the Southern Regional Alliance. Those groups are largely a mix of government and non-government service providers that meet often on a weekly to, monthly to 6 weekly sort of cycle. And there is a group that's led by Sue Christophers, which is the Families and Children's Roundtable. And that work's been going on in this region for about 17 years. So that's enduring work, it's great work. But it has been running on the smell of an oily rag. But great things continue to happen through the various roundtables. I think in one of the, that question that Sandra was just talking about what happens from here. Well, one of the things that's already happening is it's what's happening in your head and your heart. That is, if the head's been stimulated and the heart's been stirred, then the process is moving forward already. And Nigel has done a great job of doing both, stimulating those heads and stirring hearts with the amazing way in which he has delivered a huge amount of information to us today, but absolutely in the context of people and lived experience. Nigel, you're an absolute champion. We are so grateful that you've come all of this way. I am actually feeling quite guilty at the moment because I feel as if we're running him into the ground, trying to look after him but not doing very well at it. And after he's been with us this week, I'll tell you a bit more about that. He's actually heading off to Tasmania to do another 3 days down in Tasmania. So this is not a holiday, is it? It's a working trip. There's no doubt about that one. But can I just also mention there was a reference earlier today to a bill that's going through Parliament at the moment. I think Nigel mentioned it, and there was a query about what that is. It's the Data for Change bill that is moving through state government, and it's intended to sort of crack the nut of, for many years we've been under the national privacy principles, and government departments have taken that seriously, and so they've been holding their data close to their chest and not even sharing it with other government departments, much less anyone outside government. But the data sharing bill is going to change that. It'll make it not only the right thing to do, but the legal thing to do, to share that data for public good between government departments and also with researchers and credible community organisations that are committed to public good. So that's coming. That bill is an outcome of a piece of work that I should just give credit. Katrine Hilliard, who is a local MP here, has been critical in leading that piece of work for the Department of Premier and Cabinet under a working party that I've also been involved with over the last 12 months called Data for Change, and recognising that if we're going to be able to detect whether we're making a difference, we've got to have access to timely data, accurate timely data. And Nigel's many examples and those beautiful graphs of dramatic changes in trends are only possible if you can get access to the right data. So Katrine's work at state level has been transformational in that area. And of course the other thing I'm sure many of you will be aware is that South Australia already has in place data sharing guidelines. So it is completely legitimate for agencies and people to be sharing information that will keep children and vulnerable people safe. So that is, you don't need to feel nervous about that. If this is about keeping children safe, you should be already feeling empowered to share information with other agencies to achieve that. So as we move forward, one of those questions, what else is happening apart from what's happening in your head and your heart, and the groups and the organisations that you're going to go back to and have these discussions about this sort of, it is a significant paradigm shift of working towards outcomes rather than working in, we all live and work in structures and systems, but it's about when we're doing that, being conscious of what the outcome is. So that work continues after today when you go and take that new approach to it. But you'll also be interested to know that during this week, Nigel has spoken directly with over 500 South Australians, people like yourselves who are committed to making this change. He's also met, I think I mentioned earlier, with state decision makers, policy makers, heads of key government departments already. And tomorrow morning he's running another 2-hour session, if his voice holds up, with state policy makers from various government departments who are all coming to gain an insight. So I'm really encouraged by that so many people have actually rallied to this opportunity. So when so many people catch a vision for what could be done a bit differently, you know, rather than just a pocket over here and a pocket over there, this has actually been quite broad. So I'm optimistic that change can be made. One of Nigel's final sessions is he'll be meeting with the Child Protection Subcommittee of the State Cabinet tomorrow afternoon. And that will, so you know that Zoe Beddison was here earlier this morning. Minister Close opened the conference earlier the week. They were both at the launch event where Nigel spoke on Monday, and so were other change leaders and change champions. So there is hope that we can move some of these things forward. It's in an environment where, in terms of moving forward, Sandra has already beautifully mentioned that there will be a summary from this report that will be available on the Together SA website and probably also on the Junction Australia website. We are also trying to put together a sort of a summary of the whole week's visit. So in addition to what comes out of this conference, we'll try and link that up with other things to pull out those key themes of what's resonated with South Australians, because it is in fact up to us to interpret what we've heard and apply that into this context with the children, families and communities that we are working with and within the organisations that we're working in. I'll leave you with the thought that the southern region has a reputation, for many years, has had a great reputation for collaboration. We know how to come together like this and to talk about things and to listen to each other and to forge a new way forward. We've been doing it for many years. We keep doing it, and we will need to keep doing it because life is complicated and we need to keep coming together and talking about things. So I just want to affirm your participation today, everything that you've contributed and everything that you've made yourself available to hear from other people is that's one of the keys. I've been saying for a number of years, I detect that there are 3 social plagues that are running rampant in our modern society, which is a real weird thing, because you'd think in a modern society like ours, with one of the leading economies in the globe, you'd think we'd have a lot of things going right, and there are a lot of things going right for many people. But these 3 social plagues continue to pester us and to hold us back, and I've come to name them as hopelessness, helplessness and disconnection. And whilst we have way too many people that are suffering those 3 plagues, we continue to only perform and achieve outcomes together that are less than optimal of what we could be achieving. I'll go back to a starting point as well, that one of the clever things that Nigel did in Leeds was he linked the work of protecting the children of Leeds, safeguarding and promoting the safety and well-being of children, linking it to the economic prosperity agenda. And I think for too long in our complex society, we've allowed economic policy to happen over here and social policy to bumble along over there without linking the two. Because prosperity is both what's happening in our personal lives and in our work lives. So we've got to keep working at that. You are all here and have that opportunity to address those 3 social plagues: hopelessness, helplessness, disconnection. By being here and hearing the story that Nigel has come across the globe to share with us, I hope that you've got a sense of it isn't hopeless. It is possible to make the sort of changes to get better outcomes for children. We are not helpless. We all live in networks. We all have influence. You are all community leaders. The fact that you're here today has singled you out of some of the 150 or so people that have stepped forward to spend a day hearing about and being inspired about and clarifying how you can step forward. You are all community leaders. You are not helpless. You are empowered. I hope that today you feel empowered to keep going with the things that you are doing. The disconnection one is another mystery in our modern society, because so many people think that we have all of this technology. Oh, we're all connected. I can get onto Twitter and I can do things and Facebook and all sorts of things. But people feel lonely and disconnected. That's the plague. It sort of tricks you when you, on the surface, you think you've got connections, but still people still feel lonely. But together, we can overcome that one as well. And we can overcome that for others who need to be more connected than they perhaps are. So one of the other things that didn't come up so much today, but when we were in the Northern Conference, again, Nigel gracefully stepped out of that conference too and took a radio interview, and in that discussion used the term, what would it be like if the state conceived itself to be like a family business? So South Australia is a family business. A family business where we do family matters in a family business. And the critical thing about a family business is you've got to keep bringing the young ones up to take up their role and to be productive, contributing members of the family business. And I think that's a really interesting paradigm that he's thrown up for us. For a state like ours, and perhaps even a city like we are, I think South Australia's been happy to have Adelaide have that accolade of being one of the leading, most livable cities in the world. I think 4th most livable city in the world. What a beautiful title. So to link that with business, how well could we market that? By bringing your business to Adelaide or South Australia, your children can have a thriving life. So see how the two of those things can link so beautifully. Relocating business here, because it's too expensive to live in some of our other national capitals. But this is a very livable place. You can come from anywhere in the world and be safe and raise a family here and have a great life. That link between social agenda and economic agenda, they are right next door. So thank you so much for everything you've contributed today. It's been a pleasure for Junction Australia to be able to bring Nigel here. And can we just finish by another round of applause for this amazing man? Thank you.